Anything that's great, reliable, or dependable, it doesn't happen overnight. It comes from consistent action. Now, if you think about something that you do consistently, even something as simple as brushing your teeth every morning and every night, you think it takes a minute each time you do it. Now, it would seem ridiculous if you said, I'm just going to add up all of those minutes over 6 months and I'll brush my teeth for 6 hours before I go to the dentist. It's ridiculous because it's not about just how much time you put into something, it's the consistency with which you do it. Hi everyone, I'm Carla Johnson, and on this episode of Take 10, I'll be talking about why consistency rules and why it's the foundation of keeping in touch with your customers and building those relationships that is the key to helping you grow your business. I'm excited to partner with the team at RSVP for Take 10, where we take 10 minutes to talk about one tool that helps you be more successful in your business. When I talk about consistency, I'm talking about having a regular, steadfast cadence to how you do something. It seems kind of funny to think that we would need to define something like consistency, but consistency is really important in business because how you behave, what you say, how you act and behave over time really is the key to how people perceive you and your business. And that's the foundation to whether or not somebody trusts you. This is because people who have this positive approach to consistency, they're dependable, they're reliable, they're accountable. It's because it takes discipline to be consistent. If you think about any new skill that you may have, that you might have learned over time, something like learning to play the piano or maybe shoot hoops for basketball, it all came about because you took consistent action over a long period of time. For what we're talking about today, there's 5 things where I want you to think about where consistency rules. And these are areas of a business that really make a huge difference, but a lot of people and a lot of companies, they really shortchange them. But they make a huge difference to your reputation over time. The first one is how you look at marketing and advertising. One of the knee-jerk reactions people have when the economy turns sour is to cut everything that they think is an expense and that it doesn't bring money in the door. And you know what? Most of the time, marketing and advertising are the first things to go. This is a huge mistake. And there's a reason why these are the most important parts of your business that you need to invest in. And here's why. The whole reason that companies start to panic during these times is because customers are buying differently and they've changed their behavior. They're making decisions differently and they're thinking differently than they did before. But this is exactly why it's so important to make sure that you invest in marketing and advertising in this time, because all of what we do starts with knowing customers better. And it's not that you stop marketing and advertising, it's just that you get smarter about how you do it and making sure that you focus on your customer. Make sure that you're always starting with what matters most to your customers, to your audience, the people that you build relationships with, because as their needs change, so should your marketing and advertising strategy. It isn't always about pushing that product or service that you sell. It's really about, how can you solve the problems and answer the questions that your customers have. When you look at things from that point of view and that's how you behave, you will always be important to your audience. If you work in the business to business world, you think about the buying process there. Customers take 18 to 24 months to make a buying decision. Now, if you cut down on the marketing and advertising spend during an economic downturn, what you're doing is you're taking yourself out of communicating with the buyers during these important times that they're making these buying decisions. Now, if you fundamentally believe in what it is that you do and what it is that you sell and your course of action, you stay the course, because that's really important. And it takes us into our next point, and it's that this is the most crucial time to stay top of mind, because your competition is falling for the same scarcity thinking when it comes to investing in marketing and advertising. How many times have you said marketing would be so much easier if there just wasn't so much competition for people's attention? Well, you know what? Now's the time to take advantage of that, because while your competition is cutting back on what they're spending in marketing and advertising, there's less noise out there. This really matters when you go back and you do what we talked about in the first step about making sure that what you're doing is a great message, because great marketing is always responsive to what it is that matters most to your customers. So when you go back and you keep solving those problems for your customers at the same time that your competition is cutting back, it is a perfect time to really endear yourself to your customers, because you're helping them be successful and look good at a time when they really need it the most. That takes us to point number 3. When customers do make buying decisions, they go with who it is that they remember. And who they remember hinges on who they've heard from. Now think about this. When you're looking for help, who comes to mind? Is it somebody who you only hear from maybe every couple of years? Or is it somebody who you're in contact with on a regular basis? This is really important, because if you're a big company, you probably already have a sophisticated CRM system in place, but really, how well are you using it? Remember that the R in this acronym stands for relationship. And are you really using the content that you're developing and sending out to strengthen that relationship with your customers? Because you have to know what that customer journey looks like so that you can make sure that you're the person who's there delivering the right kind of content at the right place at the right time. Now, if you're a smaller company, there are plenty of affordable CRMs out there. And these are really important because they help you focus your time and attention, so you're not pulling your hair out as you try to stay in touch with your customers. And it helps you be smart so that you have more time to be creative with how you stay in touch. I want to share an example with you. This is a note card from my friend, Melanie Spring. Now, Melanie is a speaker, but she's also an amazing speaker coach. And she has a boot camp that runs several months long. And I had reached out to her last year to talk to her about some training, either for myself or for some of my clients. You know, it wasn't the right time, but Melanie has done an amazing job of doing little things that help her keep in touch with me so that she's top of mind. And for instance, yesterday she sent me that little card. She also sent me some of these little stickers, where you're awesome, where you're awesome, I speak with confidence, and little things about, you know, looking at the journey of a speaker and what's really important. Now, I love these things because this is how she stands out. This is how she stays in touch, but it feels real. It feels personal because it is, but she's always top of mind for me. Now, the next point that I want to talk about is the 4th reason that it pays to stay consistent, is that keeping your brand in front of your customer is key for bouncing back sooner, but also getting a bigger recovery. Now, this goes back to my earlier point about trust. And I know what you're thinking is that my clients know me. I've worked with them for years, and of course they keep me in mind. But actually, that's not always the case. And it isn't because they have malintent, they're just forgetful. There's so many things that are going on in their head. Their lives are busy. They have lots of deadlines. And when somebody comes to them and asks them a question about who do you know who does a great job with putting together workshops, even though you may have done that for 5 years, for whatever reason, they're forgetful. And what you have to do is to make sure that you stay in front of them so that when that question comes, you are always top of mind. Now, for those of you who do a whole range of things, this is an important point because you need to remind people of the breadth and the depth of the work that you do. And this takes us to our last point, number 5. Show up in unexpected ways. If you do the same thing as everyone else does to stand out, guess what? You don't stand out. Think about a small token of appreciation that you can give your customers. For example, I have this little plant that I keep on my desk that one of the companies that I work with gave me, and it sits on a little pad that says, "We want to grow with you." Now for me, I love this. It's something simple, it's something unique. That's what I want you to do, is think about unique ways that you can show up in the daily life of your customers and also give them a little bit of delight. Something different that's not another coffee mug, that's not another mouse pad, something that shows your personality as a brand. If you'd like help coming up with ideas about how you can consistently stay in front of your customers, talk to your local RSVP representative. They are fabulous for coming up with ways that you can reinforce those relationships, build stronger ties, and really look at new and creative ways to grow your business. I'm Carla Johnson, and I'll see you next time on Take 10.